Number 14 from the homework from section 5. A quick reminder of how we come up with the equation for a quadratic. First things first, you need to know the general equation of a quadratic. Y equals a times x minus h squared plus k. Does that make sense to everybody? It's the same equation we've been using for last week. What we're going to do is plug in the vertex first. So the vertex is at 1, negative 2. So that means my h value is 1, my k value is negative 2. So with that done, I'm looking at y is equal to a times x minus 1 squared minus 2. Is everyone comfortable with that? Once you have done that, then you're going to plug, okay, if you don't know what the a value is, which you really shouldn't assume you know. I almost made a mistake in second period where we're looking at it and it looks like it's something, but we had to actually work it out and double check. So here, if you're not sure, plug in another point besides the vertex. So I'm going to plug in 0, negative 1. 0, negative 1. So negative 1 is equal to a times 0 minus 1. We'll keep with all the color coding here. Minus 1 squared minus 2. So does everybody see I've plugged in the vertex in red, I've plugged in another point in green, and the only variable that's left is a. So now I can simplify and solve for a. 0 minus 1 is negative 1. I'm going to stop the color coding now because we're going to start combining things. It's not going to make sense anymore. So negative 1 is equal to a. 0 minus 1 is negative 1 squared minus 2. Negative 1 squared is going to be 1. Negative 1 equals a times 1 minus 2. Add 2 to both sides. So essentially just solve for a. Add 2 to both sides. We get 1, negative 1 plus 2 is 1, is equal to a times 1, or just a. So this one, a, really is just 1. And some of you may have figured that out because we're just going over 1, up 1 for that next point. It is the basic quadratic shape that if you go over 1, you get out 1. So our final answer then here is y is equal to, or f of x is equal to 1 times x minus 1 squared minus 2. There's our equation. We've done that already. Now for this next one, I would accept 2 different answers because they didn't make it clear. Answer 1, option choice 1, would be to say that this is between negative 1 and positive 3. Negative 1 is less than x is less than 3. And we would assume that these are solid points. They didn't put open circles for me. That is not right. What was my mistake there?
Maybe 0?
It's 0. Yeah. The first point should be 0, not negative 1. Even though it's on negative 1, the x coordinate is 0. So 0 is less than x is less than 3. That would be fine. If you assumed that it kept going, and you just put 0 is less than or equal to x, or x was greater than or equal to 0, I would accept that since they didn't put a solid dot there to show you that it stopped, but they also didn't put an arrow. They really should have put an arrow if that was what they wanted. So this 0 is less than or equal to x is less than or equal to 3. I'd probably do that. Room 611, Mr. Kuntz speaking. Yeah. Okay, no problem. Thanks. Bye. Yeah. So, with this, does that answer your questions on 14? The A value you will have to solve for. You've got to actually work it out. Sometimes you can figure it out. Here you could probably have guessed that it was 1 and you would have been fine. Any other questions on 14? A couple of you had questions on number 9. Let's go back to that one just real fast. Take a look. We're graphing this graph where x is greater than or equal to -3. So I'm only going to graph it from -3, 1, 2, 3, -3, this way. Only the x value is bigger than -3. Other than that, you're graphing a quadratic like normal. Everybody take a look at number 9 and decide in your head what the vertex is. Don't say it yet. Decide what the vertex is for number 9. All right, class, what is the vertex for number 9? -2, 3. Is this graph, is this parabola going up or going down? Down. Plug in a few points that are in that section besides the vertex and get the rest of the graph. Does that make sense to everybody? So you've got the vertex, you know it's going down, graph it, and just make sure maybe plug in -3, get the point on that line, and you'll be fine.